All right, folks, happy 4th of July again. These are the kind of stocks you like to look at. It's basically the ones that they're the ones you took a position in and then price exploded higher. And really, this wasn't just investing in a particular stock, this was really investing in a theme. And the theme, of course, is royalty companies in the precious metals mining sector. And so these companies benefit from the rising price of precious metals. They basically function as banks within the sector. Mining companies have a hard time borrowing money from traditional banks, and so the royalty companies step into that gap and act as banks in return for a percentage of the profits. And so basically, they benefit from precious metals income streams without the risk of actually operating mines. And in my opinion, this is one of the most ideal. This is probably the ideal business model for benefiting in a precious metals bull market, which we're in currently, in my opinion. And so, anyway, Eli Gold, uh, that's another one that love to see a stock do this one, this this kind of thing. Other than um, acknowledging that price can't go, nothing can go vertical. Trees don't grow to the sky. Price can't sustain a vertical price movement like that. Um, but now, what we can see is the market dramatically repricing a vehicle when it is appropriate to do so. And so potentially that's what we're seeing here, that this is not a dramatic price spike to be followed by price falling off, but this is more a matter of price, or excuse me, the market repricing this business model. The stock that we're really going to look at in this video is Teuton Resources, and they are doing the same thing. They are implementing a royalty model within precious metals sector. And so again, there you see a vertical price movement. This is in the weekly time frame. And so, as I always do, I start by drawing some market structure. I always like to have some framework to kind of see what price is doing. I love seeing this big spike in buying volume as price rises dramatically like that. The combination of the rising volume, the rising price, that tells me that the primary trend is up. That's a good thing. These horizontal lines, as we can see in the past, and of course we're talking all the way back, that's end of the bull market way back when, 2012. This level provided resistance, but prices spiked through that level as though it didn't exist. Certainly in this weekly time frame, that's the case. And then this level served as support. Um, Price sliced through it on the way down, didn't even have to retest it from below. So we can't really say that it's a resistance level. And of course, in this time frame, it wasn't. Price just shot right through it as though it didn't exist. So let's throw, just for funsies, let's throw a couple of indicators on here. That's our weekly. I think we got all that stuff in there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So stochastics, that's my quick indicator on energy level, and so we can see in this weekly time frame that price energy is very high. If price wants to continue from here, or I continue higher from here, it certainly has the energy to do so. MACD isn't really useful. This is such a dramatic price movement. Same thing with accumulation distribution. Um, and final note, we are in log scale in this chart. So, and that's because of the big price movement. Let's acknowledge this was a penny stock. So if we go back January of 19, this was a 7 cent stock. You could have bought this all day long for 8 cents. How many shares do you want? And here we are today at 240. Let's see. So let's drop down, and this is typical. So, excuse me. This is the way I like to do my technical analysis. I start in the higher time frames and then drop down. And so now we are down in the daily time frame, and again, here we're seeing some more useful information. Clearly, people are accumulating this stock. So, in my mind, this is an acknowledgement within the investment community that the royalty model, the royalty business model, is a successful business model, and these kind of companies are good ones to invest in. Again, MACD doesn't tell us anything. Price energy is high. Um, so we have this Andrews pitchfork, and it's been tested. Prices test. Let me get this. Moving average for the most part tell us a lot. So we have this Andrews pitchfork. It's not a great fork. Price has tested the lower median line, a couple of times. Um, that action right there is kind of sloppy. But anyway, and for whether this was a valid pitchfork or not, it is too steep for this price action to be sustainable. It would be reasonable to expect price to waffle sideways, or even retrace a little bit at this point. Maybe a Fibonacci 38.2 would be healthy before pressing on to higher levels. But of course, price can do whatever it wants. Anything else here in the daily time frame? Again, we see the positive volume is rising along with price. Let's drop down to let's see, that's daily again. We don't need to see that. Now we've dropped down into the 4 hour time frame, and these are the same horizontal support resistance levels that we saw in the higher time frames. One of the things that caught my eye here is that we got this bullish gap, price gapped right over the $1 level. Let's see, what was the low on this bar? I intentionally turned this off. So the low on this bar was $1.09. So almost, and where was our high? $1. So we got an 8 cent gap there, and price never filled that gap to the downside. And so we might talk about that being a bullish offset in the positive, or yeah, obviously in the positive direction. But so anyway, and then price obviously continued on higher. So that was one of the things I wanted to point out in this time frame. And then as we've, down in this lower time frame, 4 hours, well, obviously now we can see price interacting with this horizontal um, level. And it appears now that that level has become support. Looks like it's about $2. And let's see, this is more. We're still in the 4 hour. And again, these indicators, not a lot of useful information because they're so overbought. Still a whole bunch of energy from in the stochastics. That's the gap that we just got done talking about. Let's do this. And so there's our Andrews pitchfork. And again, it's not a great fork. Based on this action here at the median line, we could certainly argue that it is a valid fork. I'm referring to this action right here. And let me do this just to clarify it. And of course, then I got to send it to the back like that. Um, when we see price interact with the median line of a fork like that, it certainly adds credence to the idea that this was a valid fork. And here again, this is one of the things that one of the behaviors that we might expect with a valid fork. Price is interacting, waffling along the median line. Of course, in this case, it's the upper median line of this fork. And let me, again, I'll highlight so there's no question what I'm referring to. Send that to the back, and there we go. So, not easy being OCD. And so there we see price interacting with the upper median line of that Andrews pitchfork before it gathers enough energy to pop higher. And then coincidentally, as another indication that the fork is valid, we get price in a spike here coming back down to test that upper median line of the pitchfork as support. And of course, support was successful and price, galloped off higher. And again, so proven pitchfork, and now we have price interacting with resistance up at the next median line, which of course in this case is the first median line extension in the technical parlance of using Andrews pitchforks. Um, Anything else we want to see there? I don't think so. I think we've belabored the point. The stock is just doing super fantastic. Um, no indication that price is running out of steam. In fact, price is every indication that it's got plenty of energy to run higher. It is running into a resistance level at this point. Um, I'll have to take a closer look at it and decide what to do with my portfolio. But again, the real emphasis I want to make for other people is that as you are looking at ways to invest in this precious metals bull market, that, in my opinion, has 4 to 8 years to run from today. Definitely put on your list the precious metals royalty companies, and so Eli Gold is one of them, and Teuton Resources is another one. So give those two companies some consideration. And of course, one of the things, I also like the Teuton. They're focused in the U.S. Um, so focused on the U.S. I like that. And then a tightly held share structure, which again, well, not again, I haven't said it before. Um, the fewer shares out there in the public domain, the better. More possibility for price to rise. As demand rises, supply is limited, and so price is able to rise higher. And so 50 million shares, of course, this number is dated. It's a year old at this point. Um, but some companies you'll look at and they've got 200 million shares in their float, and you wonder why the price isn't going anywhere. And that's not the case with Teuton. So, folks, again, have a fantastic 4th of July. I am going to end this video now if I can find, how funny, if I can find the button to do so.